Hey, what's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we are talking about wrestling here, right here in Templeton. And we've got Brody Barrios and Cody Gibson here to tell us about what's happening. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in and sharing the story. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the approval, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the ultimate goal is to get Templeton Wrestling on the books.
Yeah, at the high school. We currently have a middle school team. We started last year. We had over 40 kids on the squad.
Wow.
About
Was that the first year?
first year.
That was the first year that you guys, because you guys went and got the mats.
Got the mats for a club
Uh-huh.
through the Templeton Education Foundation. Hosted a club for all ages.
Uh-huh.
And then I started doing a tumbling class in my PE classes. I teach PE at Templeton Middle School.
Okay.
So we started doing some tumbling, got them on the mats, a lot of the kids for the first time, to kind of balance hand fighting things. And then kids just fell in love with it. It goes hand in hand with football. A lot of kids are physical and want to do, physical stuff at school.
Boys and girls?
Boys and girls. We had 12 girls on the squad last year.
Okay.
They did really well. The girls were very coachable. Asked a lot of questions when I was teaching techniques. The boys kind of squirrely.
Girls have a different demeanor, demeanor to them that, I've coached softball and, football, and the girls are just mean. They're just naturally
Yeah, they got
aggressive.
some fight in them. They're
Oh,
tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Naturally,
awesome.
They're tough. They're willing to learn. They really wanted to do the techniques right. They were always asking questions. It was the first time I had coached girls. Coming from San Diego, I was at a community college, Palomar College. I was there for 10 years, and then I coached high school wrestling at San Marcos High School, which is right in the same community. So I coached there for 5 years. And at the time, girls didn't wrestle in high school. If they did, they had to be on the boys' team. And a lot of times they just kind of were getting sick of getting beat up by the boys because that's all they had to wrestle. So I didn't have any experience coaching the girls. Now it's great. They wrestle against each other, which I think is how it should have always been. Out of all the sports, they had girls having to fight boys. Not like
very physical sport.
out of all the sports, that's the one they made them both do together. Was kind of always silly to me. There's like maybe.
And it worked on both ends because either a girl would be frustrated that she was getting beat by a bunch of boys, or if you had some freshman boy who had no experience, was brand new to the sport, and a girl beat him at a JV tournament or something, sometimes the kid would quit because of that. They're embarrassed.
Right.
And so it wasn't good for either males or females when they were having to combine. So when I wrestled at Menlo College up in the Bay Area, and my head coach, who's now the athletic director there, when he started the program, Title IX was taking away a lot of wrestling from a lot of colleges.
Mm-hmm.
That was the excuse that athletic departments would use to cut the wrestling team because, this is a sport with only males. We don't have a counterpart. And so when he started the program at Menlo College, he was adamant that he wanted to start a men's and women's team so that Title IX would never come back around and get them. And so at the time, Menlo College was one of 13 colleges in the country that had a women's wrestling team. And so I got to kind of see that,
How long ago was that, Cody?
I graduated in 2010 from Menlo.
Okay.
So
So 16 years ago-ish.
it doesn't seem that long, but yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about this, that the women's, there's only,
Yeah.
limited back
Yeah, yeah.
then.
And so now it's they've gone Division One. Iowa has a women's wrestling team now. And the opportunities for the females, not only in the competitive sense where there's other females to wrestle, but also just the opportunities after high school if they want to continue.
Yeah,
It's
one of the fastest growing sports
it's
in the country.
a ripe time to be a woman in wrestling right now.
Well, I mean, look at Atascadero. You got Emma Garrett there that is just, unfortunately she's a senior, so she's going to be, whatever she does goes to college. But I mean, having huge success, and the women's, do you call it women's or girls wrestling? Is it
Girls,
women?
the women when they get to college, maybe.
Yeah. We'll just say women's.
Yeah.
So women's wrestling in Atascadero as a high school, has really grown in the last, 4 or 5 years. Now you got, the girls that are there in Atascadero, which I think they have you guys had, or like you had last year, 12, 15 girls that are on the team.
Yeah.
And, that sport is becoming more and more and more the high schools and the more of the girls are starting to kind of gravitate to wrestling. And, it's acceptable now. That's
Right.
kind of what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
More so.
Whereas
than-
before is more like, like when I was a kid, when I wrestled, there was no girls even wanted, to wrestle. And as they started trickling in, but I think, Cody, with the UFC, you got women's MMA, UFC fighting, it's really, exploding, so it's really bringing those girls to the sport, of wrestling.
I try to use the UFC and MMA when I coached high school in the Valley. I would use that as my marketing tool all the time. Like, I would list all the UFC champions on a poster, and I would say, "What do all these guys have in common? They all wrestled. Join the team. First practice."
Yeah.
Try to use that as a way to recruit.
So Cody, let's talk about you for a little bit. So Cody Gibson, you were UFC 31. Let's say, or I'm gonna say Ultimate Fighter 31. Right, you were in the house and got to live that experience.
Yeah.
Right, at a ripe age of what were you, like, 35?
I think I was 35. Yeah.
Yeah, 35 years old. So you're going back into the house with 20-year-olds and young guns and stuff like that. But you also had to stint in the UFC prior to that. I think you had a 8-year hiatus out of the sport.
Or out of the UFC.
Out of the UFC, but you're still kind of in the sport with, like, Tachi Palace and some of these Indian reservations and stuff like that. So tell me about that experience. That how did the wrestling that you obviously did as a kid, went into college, how did that come into play into the UFC?
Well, I think it just translates so well. I mean, combat sports are combat sports, whether we're talking about kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, there's similarities, And I always think, like, we could use combat sports as a vehicle, especially for the youth. It's just a vehicle. That's all it is, right? Like, it mirrors life so well. Like, there's things that are inevitable in life, right? You're going to struggle. There's going to be things that happen in your life that are going to be setbacks. How do you respond to those? These sort of lessons that we could use combat sports as a way to instill and get kids to practice in a safe environment where, hey, the first lesson you learn when you start wrestling or start jiu-jitsu or any of this stuff is you get humbled. It's the first thing that happens. There's no one that walks on the mat on day one and they're better than the coach. If you have a good coach, at least, or anyone who's been doing it long enough, like, you're gonna lose. That's the first lesson. How do you respond to loss? How do you respond when you get knocked down? And so these sort of things, and then another part of it is, like, controlling what you can control, right? Like, we got kids on the team who are long and skinny. We got bird legs. I got kids with big old legs, and they could do a clean or a squat, 300-pound squat, I can't change that about the physical makeup of the kid. So thinking about it in the context of, like, controlling what you can control. I can control my effort. I can control how hard I work, how focused I am during instruction, how my diet is. I mean, all these variables in it, but those things are what I think are important as far as, like, what we're doing and trying to do is, like, whether a kid goes on to be a 3-time state champion or quits after 7th grade. Like, if we can instill those lessons in the youth, like, it's going to help them in life, whether you become a realtor or you're running a dairy farm or whatever you do. Like, those are the lessons that's why I'm passionate about it. It's not just the actual, yes, I love the sport, I love the technique, I love training, but it's those lessons that I've learned through martial arts, through wrestling, that, I think every kid should be learning these lessons because it's helped me in my own life, so.
And you guys are both PE teachers you're at Templeton, you're in Atascadero, is that right?
I was, yeah.
Okay. So
I'm just fighting, and I'm opening a gym too.
Okay, so now you're just UFC full-time.
Yeah.
And then you're opening a gym. All right. But then you're also trying to help with this whole what is it called, Brody?
Templeton Wrestling Club.
Templeton Wrestling Club, and trying to get this thing off the ground, and hopefully a recognized sport at Templeton High School. Correct?
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. I think giving those kids an opportunity to do another sport in the winter. They got basketball currently and soccer, which are highly competitive. like making those teams. A lot of those kids in those sports, they've been playing since they're little on travel teams and clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of have an established group of kids. So there's a lot of kids that they're falling through the cracks. And they don't have a sport to do, and wrestling's a great opportunity for them to stay involved. They do better in school when they're involved. So the football team will benefit. You know, a lot of the same concepts in wrestling translate to football. It's all leverage, low man wins, keeping your
Right.
elbows in, head up, tackling and blocking. That's all we do in wrestling. It's like a football play that never ends. You know?
Well, some of your greatest football players were wrestlers. You know, either
Yeah.
you know through high school at the collegiate level or you know something. But I mean,
Yeah.
it teaches, like you said, like you were saying, you know, your battles. You know, one on one.
Yeah.
You know, low man. You know, it's
Uh-huh.
and grappling. You know,
Yeah.
bringing in and you know most importantly, like not using your head, using your body and your arms and your grappling and stuff like that.
Yeah, head up, driving, wrapping the legs. Like when I was playing, I played football from like first grade all the way through high school, and I played baseball as well. And I loved football, was like my passion growing up. But wrestling really helped me be good at football. Like I ran the ball. I was super hard to take down because I had good balance for my wrestling training. And tackling, they put me at the cornerback to contain the edge, and open field tackles were nothing. Get in front of them, break down, double leg tackle them. And it helped me tremendously. And I think it's a great sport for Templeton, and they have a strong football tradition. And there's the linemen, the linebacker guys.
Right.
You know, if you're not like the skilled players are probably playing maybe soccer and basketball, but then you got your meatheads,
Right.
your football guys.
Somebody that doesn't want to play, doesn't play baseball, doesn't play
Yeah.
basketball, doesn't, you know, I mean, coach always wants you to go to the track, you know, because it keeps you
Get faster
it
and-
keeps your speed, you know, this
Yeah.
and that. With wrestling, give you another option. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I went into wrestling from football, I thought I was, you know, in pretty decent condition. You know, I just got out of football season, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go try out wrestling. I got my ass kicked. You know, I mean, I could it was like a whole different level of
Yeah,
conditioning.
that's that humbling aspect Cody was just talking about.
Yeah.
There's nothing
You're not
like
in
it.
shape
It's
from
tough,
football.
Yeah.
Different, yeah. Football is a short burst, you know, so it's a different type of conditioning. Whereas wrestling, it's both. Like
like
you
a
got to have short
6-minute
burst
long
and you've got to have
football
long duration.
play.
And when I coached high school, I would always laugh because my cross country kids that I would recruit, because they were there at the same time as football, would always come in shape. You know, they'd be like, little dude, just freaking go like a, you know. And then my football kids, I'm like, you guys. They'd be throwing up, but they finally get in the room, you know, and you're just like, oh my God, we're gonna take a few weeks on this, you know.
Right.
Yeah, the cross country guys too. They would be in shape, but not wrestling shape. I had a teammate at Poway High. We were one of the top wrestling programs in the state when I was there. We were state champions my junior year. This is my sophomore year. There's some twins. I love recruiting the twins. The twins are always tough. They've just been fighting each other
Oh, right.
forever.
Since birth.
In the womb. They're
Right.
who's going to come out first. You know, they're just fighters.
Yep.
So Aaron and Andrew, they're twins, 119 pounds and 125 pounds, little guys, just scrappy. Andrew ran cross country and made the state finals, and he missed the first 2 weeks of wrestling season. But he's like state caliber runner, and he comes into wrestling practice, and we're getting ready for our first tournament like that week, so we're revving up, live goes, and he's gassing like he can't hang in the wrestling practice, and my coach like really recognized it because he had us running all the time to get in shape, and he's like, shouldn't you be in like shape? Like, you just came back from the state meeting cross country. He's like, it's different, coach. It's way different because all your muscles are working. You know, from your toes to your fingertips, everything's just engaged when you're out there wrestling.
Yeah,
It's a different kind of conditioning.
Totally. And it's like I said, it's good for all sports actually. I think any sport a kid is in is good across the board. You know, it just gets them active, gets them part. You know, and you know it's something new. So if you guys are able to get wrestling in Templeton, which that would be huge. I know there's there's girls are trying to get the girls flag football into Templeton. So there's a lot of change that we're kind of stuck in this one path. it's like let's open up the gates. Let's take the borders and the margins down a little bit. And introduce these other sports that are becoming popular.
Yeah, I mean, I think the UFC and MMA have definitely added some popularity to wrestling. People have kind of seen that the wrestlers do really well. I have a graph in the locker room that shows like UFC champions by primary discipline, and like wrestling's like way up there. Like the wrestlers have won UFC titles, like, and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's like second, but they're like 15 behind the wrestlers.
Yeah.
You're having that base, kind of dictate what happens out there. If you're good at submitting them, you take them down. If you're beating them up with your punches, you can keep it on your feet. The wrestling's kind of the equalizer.
Cody, tell me about being in the house. You were 35 years old. I mean, I know how it ends. You were in the final, the final match. But tell me how it was being amongst the young kids, and as you were their elder, really, right? How was that experience?
One of the guys on the show, Carlos Vera, would call me the grumpy grandpa, because they were just young, and excited, and I mean, I made a lot of good connections and built a lot of good relationships on the show. That it's just cool because I can go to a lot of places and train. Like if I'm in Thailand, I got a buddy to go train with. If I'm in Australia, if I'm on the East Coast, if I'm in the Midwest, there's someone almost everywhere, that I know and could connect with and be like, hey, I'm going to be in your area. I'd love to come train, and I love to train. So that was a cool experience for me, just getting to network, But yeah, there were.
Did they think seeing like the older? Because I think there was a couple of you that were older in the household.
The whole premise of the show, and I was in the UFC in 2014 and 15, and I'd already been fighting for 7 or 8 years by the time I made it to the UFC, and I was like 25, 26, and then 8 years passed, and I'm fighting on the smaller shows again for many years. Started teaching, so then it was like a balancing act of family life, work life, and in the morning and at night I go and train, and then I fight every now and then on the weekends, But
come back to school with a black eye.
Oh yeah. It was an experience. It was a good experience for me.
Did they think they could take you?
That's what I was gonna say. When we started, the show's premise was veterans versus prospects. So they brought in 8 veterans, guys who had been in the UFC at one point or another, and then 8 young guys who were like the prospects, who were the next generation, right? And we were pit on different teams to go against each other. And so when we first got in the house, you could tell the young guys are excited.
So Connor had the young kids.
McGregor had the young guys, and Michael Chandler had the older guys.
Okay.
The veterans. And when we first got in that house, I remember all the young guys were very excited, giddy, a little bit like they didn't really I don't know, it was just a vibe, that they also were overconfident. They were like, we're the young guys, these guys have been there, they've failed, they're no longer in the UFC, so, we're going to come in here. And it did not go that way. The old guys won 7 out of the 8 quarterfinal fights. Up until the last fight, we were 7-0. And we were winning that last fight, and our guy got caught and knocked out. So we went 7-1 in the quarterfinals. But the old guys, experience matters. I think that was the lesson of the show, was experience matters. And yeah.
So there's a lot of people that said that when you fought, it was Kato's Katona, and that you guys both should have got contracts. Did you end up getting a contract from that?
Yeah.
From that fight?
Yeah, I've been fighting the UFC ever since. Yeah, so that was. Yeah, obviously you want to win the show. That's the goal.
Right.
And I made it to the finals of the show, and then I lose a decision in the finals. And we got fight.
It was a great fight, man. I mean, literally. I mean, you were like the little engine that could, that you just kept going after it, even when I think you got jammed in the eye or something like that.
They thought I had a broken orbital because my face was all swollen and my eye was all puffed up bad. But
you came back with an uppercut,
that
kind of just jarred him. Like it was like, so I mean, I thought the fight was really good, and it literally, I don't even know how or who or even what they're scoring, because it was to me, I was going, holy dude, how do you this? Everybody wins. You guys both win. Here's both arms.
It was a fun one for sure,
That's crazy.
And it led me back to the UFC, so I've been doing it. It's my 3rd year back in the organization. So,
So you've met Dana White and all that stuff. Have you?
yeah.
Has he ever tried to talk you into riding his bull?
no.
I think Matt Cowboy,
Cerrone?
Cerrone was gonna ride.
Oh
it
yeah, he
last
was
year.
thinking about it.
But then
yeah.
the bull died.
Oh really?
So maybe you lucked out.
I've talked to a couple bull riders, and I'm like, you guys are the only guys crazier than the fighters, wrestlers, like, because I mean their bodies are just trashed, like,
Right.
Like you, I don't know how they do it, and they just keep going back and back and back, and you're like, those are the guys I have a lot of respect for, because I'm like, I know that you gotta be feeling that,
So how did you guys meet? I mean, how did you guys form this Templeton Wrestling Club, and what was the vision of it?
I initially met Cody at the fall festival at Templeton Elementary School. I noticed his ears right away, and
It's a dead giveaway.
I hadn't seen any wrestlers in Templeton, and I introduced myself and told him I was trying to start a wrestling team in town, and he said he was in town. And then our daughters ended up being at the same
Daycare.
children's garden.
Yeah, the children's
garden there in Templeton, and they ended up being like good buddies just naturally. And we were like at pickup or something, and we ran into each other again. Like, oh, Margot and Remy, they talk about each other. Like, oh, you're the dad, cool.
So did you know that he was a UFC fighter at that time?
No.
Other than that, he's got the cauliflower?
Yeah, I knew he was. He told me he was at Tascadero doing the middle school wrestling and stuff, but I didn't know much about his fighting career
Okay.
until I Googled him.
Yeah. Deep dive,
Uh-huh.
right? And you're like, oh boy, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, good. We got a wrestling guy right here in Templeton. It's, when you are building a program, it's important to have like alumni support. You have kids that come back into the room and help train with your guys. The training partners are very critical, especially like at the upper levels to jump levels. You need to get someone beating you up. So starting at the base here, we're at the ground level. We have no experience. Like a lot of the kids maybe do some jujitsu, but as far as wrestling, we're starting at scratch, which is almost a good thing, because some kids come in with some bad habits if they've been coached wrong, and fixing bad habits are hard. So you can train them how you want in your system, really get good at the fundamentals, and build off of that, like have that base. And but yeah, just having someone in town that also is passionate about wrestling is super helpful, and I made sure I remained in contact with Cody. And once the middle school rolled around,
Selfishly, I'm like, my son's 2 almost, and I'm like looking into his future, if you're gonna get him involved with wrestling, hopefully, if he's into it. But having Brody, and like, to me, I always describe it to people like it's a diamond in the rough, because I mean, he comes from one of the best programs in the state's history. So it's not just that he was a good wrestler and a multiple-time state champion, but it's that he came from a program of excellence, Poway High School. And so he's able to bring that experience. I've learned a lot just watching him coach. And I've coached high school for 10 years and middle school, little kid. I've been coaching since I got out of college. But learning from him because of the systems he came up in, I'm learning stuff like jab step. Like, I've never seen it taught that way. I've always taught like a full-on shot, and then kids struggle, because it's hard.
Yeah.
But if you teach them like the jab step, like that's something that I like watching you teach, and I'm like, so for me, not only was it exciting to have another wrestling guy in town who was passionate about starting something here, but of his caliber, and I just don't think Templeton's fortunate that we have him to start a program, because he knows what he's doing.
How long? So this has been, I think, 5 years ago, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
you guys started, and then last year was your first year of the club.
Yeah, the middle school team.
The middle school.
We've been doing a club for like almost 2 years now.
So is that Templeton Middle School? It's the what is the middle school name?
Eagles, Temple.
Okay,
TMS,
same thing. I didn't know
TMS.
it was like the
We're all the
whatever a
Eagles.
baby eagle would be called.
No, we're all the Eagles in town.
Okay, so it's actually a school sport
Yeah.
for the middle school.
So what our principal did was they had a boys volleyball team in the spring, and they were having trouble getting kids out for the team. They only had like 6 kids on the team the year prior. And I pitched the idea to him selfishly that I can get a fair
And
amount.
you're a
I'm
PE
a PE
teacher.
teacher. I have
Okay.
exposure to these kids, and I'm trying to build a program here. When I got hired at the beginning, that was kind of my vision from the get-go. I was like, oh, Templeton. I've always had it. Like, my wife's from Atascadero, and we came up here like 10 years ago maybe and went to the 4th of July parade. And then we're walking back, and the fireworks stand set up, and we get some fireworks, and they're like, thanks for supporting Templeton schools. I'm like, Templeton schools are selling fireworks? This is amazing.
Right.
You know, down in San Diego, it would have been like a no-no,
Right.
like where we're from. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. That's a cool school district. And I knew people had talked about having wrestling in Templeton, and they've never had it, and it would be a good spot for it. So that was always in the back of my mind. And I was coaching down south at a community college, and COVID hit, and things kind of shut down, and things were getting kind of weird in the city, and we wanted to get back up to like the country. We had kids in sports, and it was like getting trafficky in North County of San Diego, getting to practices and everything. It was taking a half hour to go like 5 miles. Well, an opportunity came up to teach up here, and I applied for the job, and kind of pitched the idea that, you know, I'm a wrestling coach, and I'd love to have wrestling in Templeton if I got hired. So that was kind of always my intent, to try to promote wrestling. I'm passionate about the sport. I've seen all the good it's done for kids, especially kids that need it. Like the kids that are attracted to wrestling are kind of, you know, they're hanging out at the park skateboarding, and they're, you know, rough and tumble guys.
Right.
Getting in trouble, a little ADD-ish maybe, you know. Kids getting in fights at school. The principal, here, I got a recruit for you, you know.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, perfect. I got a spot for him, you
Right.
know? We could square him out.
There you go, hit the
teach him
rope.
how to do it right.
I'll never forget. I was teaching. I grew up in Visalia, and I was teaching like 3rd or 4th year teaching, and the police department had come to the teachers meeting to give a presentation, and they showed the city's. It's a graph that showed the city's youth incidents. Right, it's like a graph about when youth incidents happened. And so it's going along, and he says, well, why is there this big spike from 3 to 5 o'clock? And we were all like, raise your hand, and I was like, well, they're out of school and their parents are still at work.
Right.
So they're not involved in something within the schools, or maybe even extrinsically outside of the schools, a club or something. They're probably doing things they're not supposed to be doing. You know, like, so the more we can keep kids connected to the community through the schools, in this case through wrestling, like a lot of those kids that go find trouble after school, you know, aren't going to be doing that, you know, so.
So Cody, does your kids go to Templeton too?
Mm-hmm.
So you came. I mean, you guys just put this together last year. Are you the wrestling coach there too?
I am. I coach the middle school team.
Okay.
Run the club.
And do you help? Are you a coach too with the
I
middle?
was his assistant last year.
Okay. So it's just two of you guys, or do you guys have more coaches?
Just us two now. I'm working on getting a couple more. Trying to get some Questa kids to come in and help out. Questa wrestlers. I really utilized them when I was coaching down south. I'd take my Palomar wrestlers and turn them into like grad assistant kind of guys, you know, training partners for the up and comers.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a stipend. They're all excited to have a little bit of money, you know.
So you're in your second season then right now.
We're starting our second season at the middle school.
Getting ready to start.
March 9th will be our first practice.
Okay.
But our club's running. We have a little competitive club that we're taking kids to tournaments in the valley. We're going on Sunday to Tulare. Got about 10 kids traveling.
So for the middle school, is it only 7th and 8th grade, or does it trickle down to the 6th graders as well? Because I know sometimes, like the 6th graders is middle school, but yet they're not like part of it's weird. It's like, oh, well, you can't go to the dances. You can't because you're only in 6th grade, but yet you're in middle. Bizarre, Templeton. But
yeah, it's all inclusive. Like 6th graders, if they're like the toughest 90-pound kid on campus and they're 6th grader, you're the man. You're on the team. You're in the lineup.
So tell me about the success that you guys had last year with this. So it took you probably a short amount of time to get the program up and running for Templeton approved. I'm sure I'm through
Yeah, I had a lot of support through the school. The principal is a big advocate of wrestling.
Uh-huh.
He come from Paso, and he's seen the success it's had with especially the kids that need it the most.
Right.
You know, so he's like, yeah, wrestling's great.
It's an aggressive outlet, so
Yeah.
like football.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
so you guys got it running. Tell me about the success that you guys had last year going into this year and what the hopes for the high school to actually bring the sport to there.
A big part of our team last season was 8th graders because I teach predominantly 8th grade, and we do a tumbling unit, and we introduce them to some wrestling skills. We get them rolling, doing cartwheels and stuff, and then some kind of balancing games and hand fighting stuff. And I had just having access to the kids daily. I was able to recruit heavily out of my PE classes, and we had a lot of 8th graders like express interest and ended up wrestling. We had over 40 kids on the roster, which is like, they broke it down. It's like 10% of the school was on the wrestling team.
Wow.
And you know, they're all beginners. So most of them, it was their first month wrestling, and you know, they're making rookie mistakes at the beginning, but every single match they got so much better, and by the end of the year they're competitive. Like, we won about even amount of matches against Paso, and Tascadero had a really strong team. Their coach had a middle schooler on the team, so he had his crew of little
All his buddies.
His buddies.
Yeah.
They beat us up pretty good, but we went down and wrestled Mesa, and we split matches with them. Won
I think we
about
finished
half
the
of them.
season right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
For the first year program with all first year wrestlers, I was kind of surprised that we did as well as we did, just because all of our guys are new, they're green, and some of the guys that wrestle have been doing it for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And the good luck, you know, it's going to be hard to catch them that quickly, which we didn't necessarily, the best kids, you know, but just to have that much success first year, and I think it helped
Yeah.
ignite the
We
kids
had
to recruit more and more.
Mm-hmm.
2 girls. They won the county championship tournament for their weight class, and then one of the
boy.
boys, Halik, he was a champion for his weight at 100 pounds. Little guy, little 8th grader, super athletic, scrappy guy. He actually just broke his femur
Did he?
mountain biking.
He was just
crashed,
He just
yeah.
emailed me.
He would have been in wrestling season if they had a team. Probably wouldn't have broke his
Probably
leg.
would have been doing that.
But yeah, snapped his femur.
But you guys are. I mean, right now. So if somebody's interested, they could actually, if their kid is middle school, 7th, 8th, 6th, 7th, 8th
6th,
grade,
7th, 8th graders.
you guys, they can still sign up now,
Absolutely, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when does the season actually start?
We start practicing for the middle school March 9th.
March 9th.
March 9th.
So right now you're kind of like in the recruitment.
Right now we're doing just a club after school on Monday and Wednesdays. We roll the mats out in the band room at Templeton Middle School. Girls basketball's going on in the gym. So
While
that's
you're wrestling?
occupied. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's why we use the band room.
we're in the band
Right.
room.
Next to it, or
We're
Yeah.
rolling out the mats in the band room, yeah,
got it.
on Monday and Wednesdays after school.
So
Kids
what's
coming in.
what is a parent looking at having somebody like their child in the club? What are they looking at cost wise? I mean,
I'm doing like sessions right now. Like each season, I try to have some kind of opportunity. Like we'll do a rough and tumble play camp for beginners during the summer for like a week, like a little camp. Just teach them fun games and let them roughhouse and stuff. Teach them how to fall correctly and show them some takedowns. Like play dodgeball, just the fun stuff. But there's a lot of fun games like we do. They're just like tackling games. Like we do like a game called Snakes in the Grass, which seems to be the favorite. One kid starts like on his hands and knees, like bear crawls around, and if he gets a hold and tackles you, gets a takedown, then you become a snake too, and the kids are running around. They're kind of trying to tackle each other.
Right.
We start practice with that to warm up, and they'd play that the whole practice if I let them.
right?
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, it's not really,
Yeah.
you know, they're not exerting anything. It's a fun game.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I mean, they're getting told all day, keep their hands to themselves at school, and then they get to tackle each other. And
Right.
Just like, they love it. And
So right
so
now
we have
when
we have we'll do that in the summer, just kind of like introduce them to it. We'll do like a week. And then in the fall, we'll do like the fall brawl. A couple nights a week, they'll come in and just to give them an opportunity to be on the mat. And then we'll do a competitive season in the winter, which we're in right now. We'll take kids to tournaments. And then the spring rolls around and we'll be into
Middle
the
school
middle
season.
school season.
So do you guys go dormant during the middle school season?
For club?
Yeah, we
club?
have, because I've been kind of just doing it solo, and the middle school season's kind of like,
And most of these kids are going to wrestle on the team anyways,
yeah.
right? Or
Yeah, the
whether
middle
it be
school aged kids, they're gearing up for the middle school season.
okay.
Yeah.
Because we had so many 8th graders on the team last year for our first season, they're all freshmen now. And, you know, they're all sitting around. A lot of them are still wrestling for our club team because they don't have it at the high school. But they'll go from the high school, they'll come down in the middle school in the band room for our club team practices and still practice with us.
Yeah.
Because we're hoping that next year we have a high school team.
Oh, so you could actually
We have a good group of freshmen right now at Templeton High that are just sitting there.
They're chomping at their bit.
Just
But
asking me
can-
every day,
can you-
when's the team coming, Coach? When do we get to wrestle? I'm like, they're saying hopefully next year we'll have a team for you guys.
But can you put tournament? Can they still wrestle within the club and go to
They can
tournament?
wrestle with the club, but there's nowhere for them to compete because all the
it's all
kids there,
CIF.
all their kids their age are in.
They're all in
They're in
CIF.
season right
Gotcha.
now, CIF season.
And high school CIF
It's all
does
same.
have a dark where they
Well, it's all sanctioned CIF events, and since
They don't have a school to
they
wrestle
don't have
for.
a school to wrestle under,
yeah.
so
We tried that.
yeah,
We tried to talk to some of the club programs that have tournaments in the valley, and like, could we bring our freshmen? They're like, no, we don't. All of their high school kids are wrestling in season right now, so there's nowhere for them to go.
So they're just wrestling each other
Yeah, right now.
more or less.
Yep,
Wow.
yep.
Awesome. Well, man, we could sit here and talk all day long. And I think what we should do is we should have you guys back in, in a month or so and kind of see, what happens today or tonight, and then what's the future look like for the wrestling, and how do people get involved, and how does people voice their opinions? How do they get on board? How do they help you? I guess that's my question, Brody. Is how does people get on board to help you? What do they do?
I'm good with the email at Templeton Wrestling Club at gmail.com. You can email me. I have I'm not very good at it, but I'm on the Facebook and the Instagram. I have the Templeton Wrestling Club. Probably need to hire a
Right.
Gen Z or whatever
kid.
to run my
One of your
social-
kids, I'm sure they
I
know how to
right?
figure it out.
Yeah. But yeah, I need to do better at posting stuff on there. Kind of that, I'm old school, just showing up to the room and just having their kids experience the combat of wrestling. I think it's something every kid should have an opportunity to experience at some point. It teaches a lot about yourself. They say it builds a lot of character, but wrestling really kind of reveals your character. It's so demanding both physically and mentally. It's kind of really, it's a very humbling experience, and I think everyone could use a little humbling.
Well, I tell you what, we'll have people reach out to us, and then we'll put them in contact with you.
Yeah, so we got the little club going. It's wrapping up here, and we'll do the middle school team. But the Rough and Tumble Play Camp was a big hit last year. Kids just coming in to learn how to do it. They had a blast, and we're gonna probably throw that together again the second week of June. We ran into a conflict with a lot of kids being in the ABC church camp. There's church camps that first
Right.
week, so we're gonna do it the week after. Try to round up some of those kids that couldn't come last year for the
But then right
The
now, if
summer
somebody
camp.
wants to wrestle for the middle school, right now is the time to sign up.
yeah, they come see
They
me.
need physicals, all that stuff.
They'll need all that stuff. I'll throw a meeting together at some point, but I'm in the locker room and I'm talking to kids constantly. Just what do you do? What do you do?
Right.
You look like you can do a lot of pull-ups. Have to think about wrestling. I'll take any kid that's willing to show up and be committed and show up every day. I can turn them into a wrestler. It takes just dedication. It helps to be strong and fast and stuff, but there's techniques you can teach any kid for their body type or their skill set that you can make them successful. So just
Awesome.
learning those techniques is the most important thing, and just showing up consistently. Through the techniques, they'll be able to compete pretty quick.
Cool.
We showed that in the middle school season. They were out there. We were winning matches. First couple matches, some kids were making mistakes, which reaching back's a big one. There's just a lot of fundamental things that that break down when you get out there and your mind goes and you just start making up stuff, But once they kind of get the feel of the positions and stuff and get some discipline in their stance,
and just the reps,
success comes.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, like it's all about your reaction. Once you wrestle long, I don't think anymore. It just, my body reacts because I've repped it so many times that it just reacts that way.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, and especially in wrestling, you're out there and you're just trying to survive. You're breathing hard and they're pulling on your head and pushing you around, and you can't think. You just need to be reacting. You fall back on your training, just drilling the moves. It's just like you didn't even think about what happens. Like it happened to me so many times. Like I would hit a series of moves in the match, boom, and get a guy and pin him. Like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. It just kind of just happened. Just flowed into it, just from drilling and drilling. There's no thinking. If you're thinking about it, it's too late. Mm-hmm. You just got to react.
Well, cool. Cody, what's next for you in the UFC? You got a fight coming up?
I'm opening this gym here on Main Street. In March 1st we're opening, so it's combat sports, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu.
Wait, where's? Gosh, I totally forgot. Where's this gonna be?
It's right next to Cowboys Pizza in that same complex.
Over there in the corner where the girls,
next to the Pilates studio.
A1 Liquor.
Yeah, A1 Liquor.
Yeah, right
next door.
Wasn't there a dance?
There was a Main
there?
Street Dance was there.
Oh, they moved out?
And they moved over by Home Depot and by Starbucks over there.
Oh, okay.
And then the Pilates studio took over both buildings, but she's only using one of them, and so she rented the other one out to me, and so.
So it's gonna be like a wrestling, like MMA type gym?
Yeah, we're gonna have kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, no-gi jiu-jitsu. So it's gonna be a little different because it's only no-gi, so it's like submission grappling. And then my wife's running like a HIIT cardio program.
Oh, nice.
And so we're excited about that. So I told the UFC, like, if it's not till April, May, I'm okay with that just because I'm so busy at the moment. I've never ran a business, so I come from I'm a school teacher for 10 years, so it's been a different deal, a learning curve, But yeah, and then I'm still helping out with wrestling. I want to be as involved as I can with the wrestling. And I'm going to tell any kid that comes into my gym, if this is something you really want to pursue, you should probably be doing wrestling, and you could do this in the off season, but wrestling's always going to be my passion,
What's the fight that you want to see happen between you and whom?
Ooh.
You want to shout out the title?
Of course, but there's a guy from London that I was supposed to fight a couple years ago. Davey Grant's his name. He's the same age as me, been around forever, and just a scrapper. And
you never fought him?
We got booked to fight.
Right.
I was very excited for it, and then he had a neck injury, and a pretty severe neck injury, and had to have neck surgery, and so he had to pull out of the fight. And that was about it.
Because you thought that was a pretty good matchup.
It was going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
My wife wasn't happy about it because she knew it was going to be the car crash, but I was excited about it. And anyway, that was about 2 years ago, and we've both kind of had fights since then. And I always thought, man, I want to get that one back and have that fight. So me and Davey Grant's the one I'm still campaigning for. So
awesome. Well, cool. Well,
thanks for
wish
having
you all
us.
the luck, of course.
Yeah, thanks.
Brody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, guys. And like I said, I look forward to having a conversation about this again because I think wrestling is really good for the youth. I think there's a lot of support that you guys would have amongst the community. For boys and girls. And so like I said, I wish you all the luck. Cody, wish you all the luck in the UFC and your gym. Have you back in, you and your wife, talk about the gym opening up. And then, like I said, Brody, let's talk more during the season as we get closer to the season, and put a little bit more spotlight on the wrestling program there in Templeton Middle School. Hopefully, by that time, there'll also be approval for the high school as well.
Yep.
So,
sure.
Right on, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, guys. Hey, if you got a young kid there in middle school and they're interested in wrestling, reach out to us. Reach out to Brody. Tell me again.
Templeton Wrestling Club at Gmail.
At Templeton Wrestling Club at gmail.com. Don't forget the comms. That way you can get in touch with them. But as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalera Wine Travelers Hideaway. Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, MGP Coating, 1776 Roofing Solutions, Premier Ag, Trailer Barn, Story Termite and Pest Control, Borehole and Auto Center, Kennedy Club Fitness, Airflow Filter Services, and Templeton Heating and Air. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yep, that's me. It didn't start this way. Most problems don't. They start with things you notice, but put off. You make a few small decisions. By the time everyone else notices, it's usually too late to call the right people. Experience matters. Call 1776 Roofing for gutters and filters done right.
When it comes to comfort, trust the team that's been keeping the North County homes cozy since 1995. At Templeton Heating and Air Conditioning, they're your hometown pros right here in Templeton. From tune-ups to repairs, remodels to new construction, even duct replacements and attic ventilation, they got you covered. Call your neighbors at 805-434-3741. Templeton Heating and Air Conditioning. Local, trusted, dependable.
Hi, I'm Glenn McWilliams.
And I'm Annie. As sixth-generation farmers, we understand what it takes to keep a ranch, a farm, and a community growing strong.
And that's why we started Premier Ag to bring quality feed, trusted Western wear, and real service to the Central Coast.
From hay delivery across the county to hands-on support for local youth and ag programs, we're proud to give back to the community that raised us.
And when we say from seed to stable, we mean it. We've walked the fields, we've fed the animals, and now we're here to serve families just like yours.
Come visit us at 1041 Paso Robles Street in Paso Robles and experience the difference of a store built by farmers for farmers.
From seed to store, where quality meets country.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Looking for a top quality concrete coating in SLO County? Hi, I'm Matt Gifford with MGP Coatings, your trusted local expert in durable, long-lasting concrete coatings backed by Pentec's limited lifetime warranty. Whether it's residential or commercial, we deliver expert craftsmanship, premium products, and unbeatable customer service. When we say we make concrete great again, we mean it. As a locally owned, community-driven company, we take pride in transforming garages, patios, pool decks, wineries, and even interior spaces into stunning, functional areas. Are you ready to upgrade your space? Give us a call at 805-952-5301. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or visit mattgiffordpainting.com. Join the MGP Coating family today.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We are all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.